Hey everyone, happy new year and happy Monday. It's time for us to get back into the swing of things. I hope everyone had a nice restful time off during the holidays. I'm sure some of you worked. I always thought it was kind of the hack to stay on the clock and not burn up the additional PTO during this time, because it's nice to get some of those things done over the course of the winter. I do have an agenda for us to talk about today. It can be difficult to understand from a partner's point of view, an AWS partner that is, exactly how to penetrate the AWS machine. AWS is designed so that partners can succeed at scale with hopefully as little necessary like white glove support from inside the organization as possible. And they've certainly done a great job programmatizing all of those offerings and those ways that partners can self-serve their way into finding co-sell success. It's one of the beautiful parts about ACE. It's one of the beautiful parts about training and certification. There's a lot that you can do to self-serve as a partner without needing to access the AWS team and take, valuable time of an AWS builder. But you've got to know that those people are there, and they are also there to support and to flesh out sort of the co-sell portfolio. So when I'm advising AWS partners, one thing I'm frequently telling them to do is, especially as you're thinking about crafting your solution or crafting your marketplace listing, is work backwards from a very specific persona type inside of AWS, and somebody who can eventually, through enough hard work and showing your results and showing that you solve their problems, find a person that could become your champion and help to evangelize your solution and your partnership within the AWS ecosystem. It's what I call winning mind share with AWS employees. And I think it's a helpful way to really ignite your go-to-market strategy. Whether you're on an ISV side or a consulting side, there's a lot of opportunities for you to find the exact right persona at AWS, but there's tons of persona types, and there's lots of different ways that the organization is built that you really need to understand in order to be able to maximize that. So I'm going to start by just kind of going through the alphabet soup at AWS, and helping you understand exactly what those role types are and how you can sort of back your way into those to find a person who can really support your unique solution. So we're going to start with PDM. That's hopefully a term that all of you are familiar with, Partner Development Manager. And that is something that you eventually kind of graduate your way into as you mature your partnership with AWS. A Partner Development Manager is essentially the owner of your partnership account. They are if you have Alliance Lead, which is the partnership side representative, the PDM is the AWS side representative to broker that connection. And it's helpful to understand what each of these roles that we're going to go over today, how they're goaled, because when you understand sort of the results that matter to that person, the more you can craft your message and work backwards from the things that are more likely to make them a champion of your cause. Now, a PDM, sort of by necessity, is going to be a champion of your company, but you're not gifted a PDM on day one, at least not typically. You typically have to sort of earn your stripes and go through the activation process as a partner to show that you are a partner worth taking seriously. You go in, you pay your $2,500, you achieve select tier, you get to advanced tier, and it's usually sometime around there that you become in the consideration set to become a managed account, a managed partner with a dedicated Partner Development Manager. Now, one thing you should keep in mind, Partner Development Manager is typically not just going to be supporting one single partner, but often you'll see PDMs assigned to a portfolio of maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe as many as 20. I think the number could actually extend beyond that to the point where we'll ultimately get to PDR. In fact, let me just go ahead and toss that on the screen. PDR, Partner Development Representative, is essentially a PDM, but at scale. So you're thinking of your PDRs as handling dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of long tail partner accounts And they are dedicated to ensuring that you have a smooth adoption journey, that you can accelerate your partnership. But you think about what separates a PDM and a PDR is going to be bandwidth ultimately at the end of the day, and oftentimes seniority, right? So PDMs are typically going to be more experienced Amazonians. And but ultimately they are there to help you build a successful partnership. Now you kind of have to do some mental math here and think, okay, if we go off the assumption of a 40-hour work week and my PDM has 10 total partners that they're supporting, really the most I can expect is about 4 hours per week of time. And I want to leverage that time as strategically as possible so that I can advance my causes, right? So be sensitive to that fact and be realistic with the expectations of just how much your PDM can support you. Do you want them to focus specifically on big deals? Do you want them to be advocates for a specific solution of yours? Do you want to, essentially what I see from a lot of PDMs is they become, highly thought of customer support agents where, they're spending a lot of time putting out fires and de-escalating partner concerns. So just keep that in mind. Like, don't bog your PDM down. Use them as a weapon for helping you grow your business. So PDM is tied to your account. They're agnostic of, specific industry, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and I talked about goals. What's a PDM goal on? I'd say primarily, and I think this is a multi-layered question. You have to ask an actual PDM to get the total answer. And I certainly don't want to reveal anything too confidential on a public broadcast, but think about LAR, launched annual run rate, right? So they want to see that you as a partner are generating launched revenue through your ACE pipeline. That's going to make a happy PDM. So if you work backwards from how to make a happy PDM, it's making sure that ACE pipeline is populated. Put your visibility only deals in, put your co-sell deals in. Try to use your PDM to help you close the big deals. Like, that's also in your best interest as well. But give them a little bit. Give them that visibility into your pipeline. They can take credit for some of that launch revenue. That's going to be a win-win across the board. PDS, this is what I was when I was at Amazon, at AWS, Partner Development Specialist. A PDS is a lot like a PDM in many ways, but sliced a little bit differently. So a PDM is partner aligned, but sort of industry or horizontal agnostic. A PDS is the exact opposite. They're either industry or horizontally aligned, but they're partner agnostic. So I would spend a lot of time at AWS trying to build co-sell programs with specific partners around particular industries. So I was in a bit more programmatic, but a lot of the PDSs I worked with, they would be aligned to, say, auto manufacturing, and they would be in charge of helping to grow the auto manufacturing partner originated side of the business. But they didn't care which partners were represented in there. They just cared that there are more and more partner originated deals getting created for their industry, and that also exists for horizontals as well. Generative AI being one of the key horizontals. If you're a PDS tied to generative AI, then you don't care which partners are the ones generating the opportunities. You just care that the business itself is growing. So you're trying to accelerate those partners as they grow. So if you think about that, that's actually a really unique person who can help you as a partner trying to gain traction inside the AWS ecosystem to tap into these folks and understand exactly how you can participate in many of the motions they have going. Because PDSs often are either recruiting new partners to align to specific use cases, particularly by industry. And then they're also often running co-sell motions or campaigns that involve multiple partners. So if you can get tied in with the right folks that have PDS titles, then that can often be a good way into existing campaigns that you can become one of multiple partners with complementary solutions that deliver against a common use case. So PDS, a very helpful person to know at AWS, and probably one that's not very well known across the board. PSM is Partner Sales Manager. So PSM is different from PDM and PDS. PDM and PDS sit over on the partner side of the business. And despite having the word partner in the title, a PSM sits on the sales side of the AWS business. And so they are typically going to be rolling up at a district level. Hopefully I've got that taxonomy correct. But they are going to have multiple account managers sort of within their portfolio. And the PSM, Partner Sales Manager, is responsible for helping introduce partners into specific deals through those accounts. So, think of an account manager would be the direct owner of certain accounts at AWS. The PSM sits above that and has a more holistic picture and is responsible for knowing the relevant partner solutions in that particular set of territories, right? And usually that's going to be cut up by industry. So you might be a PSM tied to, we'll use auto manufacturing since we just did that. And they're going to need to know the relevant use cases for auto and manufacturing, especially against the priority use cases as defined by some of the teams that we'll discuss a little bit later. Now, a PSM is unique in that they're not gold the same way that a PDM is gold. They're going to have a quota that they're working to retire, as are the AMs that are part of that organization as well. Next, let's go to PMM, Partner Marketing Manager. PMM is essentially a dedicated marketing resource to a particular partner account. They are responsible for helping guide that partner through either a relevant campaign or owning the go-to-market from the AWS side for that partner. PMMs are often going to be sliced up either by industry or horizontal, but sometimes you have dedicated PMMs on specific accounts as well. So these are people who can really help connect you with relevant marketing agencies. They can help you craft better together stories. They're going to do a lot of the sort of legwork in getting dedicated lead gen campaigns off the ground. And they're also helpful in establishing a lot of the things that you'll find over in Marketing Central. These are some self-serve resources that you can take advantage of. And they can also help you strategize on how to best deploy your MDF, your marketing development funds, so that you can drive your own go-to-market through those funds. And then also you have the vPMM, which is the same thing as PMM, but it's a virtual partner marketing manager. This is sort of like a third-party PMM that can help you on specific as-needed basis, especially as you're growing in your partnership journey with AWS. I'd say most partners do not have a dedicated PMM. You'll be using a vPMM as needed for your specific marketing use cases. We talked about PDRs. Let's go over to PSAs, Partner Solutions Architect. So, when you become an AWS partner and you're assigned a PDM, you often also be assigned a PSA. PSA, think of that as sort of the technical side of the house, whereas the PDM as the business side of the house. Both have an active role in managing your partnership and making sure you're successful. And lean on your PSA. Like, they have extensive AWS services knowledge, and they can help you build and not get stuck, and help you understand how to overcome technical objections and really improve the strength of your product or solution. So definitely tap into your PSAs. So these are all different folks that can help you. PAM, Partner Account Manager. That is a role that to me it's kind of at the intersection of partner side and account side. These are folks that I think I've only seen this title in public sector, PAM, but they essentially carry a quota, but also are indexed on selling partner solutions. So if you see PAMs out there in the universe, know that specifically on public sector side, that could be a great group to sort of win mindshare with. I don't think they're aligned specifically to partner accounts, but they are going to own some portion of the public sector portfolio and align to drive partner solutions through that sector. And then the last role is the account manager. This is maybe the one that means the most to the most number of partners. Usually when you think about co-sell, you're thinking about coordinating with an account manager, the account manager at AWS who owns the relationship with a common customer that you're targeting for co-sell. That's really what you dream of. The problem is, there are so many account managers and there's so many accounts that sort of winning the mind share on that specific account level will only take you so far and will only scale so far. So I'd encourage partners to not only think about specific account managers that you want to win mind share with, but really back it up a level to that PSM, that partner sales manager, who's going to represent a number of different territories, essentially have a number of different account owners who they support. And if you can win mind share and support there, then you have a better chance of growing your portfolio with that particular area. So hopefully that's helpful. We'll shift over now from roles. These are different roles. Oh, and I guess I should call out the AMs are obviously quota carrying roles. You want to give them a way to help retire their quota. We'll probably do some videos on this later, but what we want to do is make it clear to the AM, how do they benefit? Now, the AM is always, I mean, this is AWS 101, customer obsessed. They're going to do what's in the best interest of their customer. I will say also, you need to keep in mind that these are humans and they have goals, and you should try to do everything possible to craft your solution in a way in which that account manager can retire as much quota, gain as much benefit as possible. So think about that as you're building your solution, is what programs do I need to be participating in to make sure that account managers and PSMs, for that matter, are as incented as possible for selling my solution as opposed to my competitor. Let's move over to organization-wide roles. So not just roles anymore, but specific organizations. We'll talk about ASP, which is AWS Specialists and Partners. And this is now sort of the two-piece labeled organization. It's led by Dr. Ruba Borno. It now includes APO, which was the AWS Partner Organization, and WWSO, which is the Worldwide Specialist Organization, kind of under one umbrella. And you're seeing a lot more combined efforts from those two groups. But basically, you think about partner side of the organization is going to be where your PDMs live. It's going to be where your PDSs largely live. And then WWSO is going to be where your horizontally aligned specialists live that own the go-to-market inside AWS, like AWS's go-to-market for specific horizontals and solutions, right? So think about generative AI that's going to be a key horizontal within AWS. It's going to live within WWSO. And so there's a number of different specialists, and specialists can be a very helpful persona type to help you come in and pitch to common customers. So you think about a webinar where you want to upskill and inform your customers about a specific use case and how your solution uniquely handles that. You can bring in a specialist from AWS who knows that area really well, sort of as you've earned the right to make that call and make that request. The specialist can come in and give you a little added support to drive value and create that better together messaging in front of your customers together, because that's what resonates well from customers' point of view, is to see a webinar, for example, where not only do I get to hear about what you, the partner, think and what you want to sell, but also hearing how AWS believes in this, has vetted this, and has ensured that this is strong and trustworthy technology. So you get a lot of that brand boost from bringing AWS in through the specialist network. Let's also talk about AGS, or AWS Global Sales. So this is the sales side of the organization. This is where the PSMs and the AMs live. And so, or at least I should say largely that's where they live. There's exceptions to all these rules, but hopefully this is at least helpful enough to get you started in understanding what all is out there. And then AWSIs, AWS Industries, thise are the folks that own the industry priority use cases. And they also own a number of very, higher end accounts inside of AWS, right? So the very top sliver of relevant customer accounts would reside within AWSI. But think about by industry, they're defining what are the priority use cases for any given year or moment in time, and then once you can understand what those use cases are, that gives you another thing that you can work backwards from as a partner to build your solution around. You don't want to build a solution that's tied to a use case that's not prioritized by AWS. You want things that are going to flow downhill. You want things that are going to be focus areas, things that are going to be gold on. and you want to use that taxonomy to your advantage. So lean in, find out what those priority use cases are in your relevant industry, and craft solutions to build that. And AWS is constantly trying to steer partners in the right direction and lead with some of these use cases. In fact, you'll see a lot of guidance packages coming out of AWS, instructing partners on how to build relevant solutions that will be future priority use cases from the company, right? And so you can take that and use that to your advantage as a partner and begin crafting a message and crafting products and solutions around that use case, knowing that this is sort of like a future priority area for AWS. So I think that covers it. We've gotten to all of my acronyms that I want to cover, alphabet soup. If you can understand all these role types, how they interact with one another, and who is the right persona type inside of AWS for you to potentially win mindshare with, then you just have to play the game. Like, I'm not saying pick up the phone or spam LinkedIn or spam email addresses. No, go out and prove that you have a solution that's worth paying attention to, and then start digging in and making forging relationships with those relevant personas. So you start by winning mind share, and then you win market share when you do that together. So I'm hoping that this is helpful. Happy to take any questions. Leave them down in the comments below. And a brief PSA, we do have some upcoming events. I'm lucky enough to be invited on Thursday, January 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern, so that'd be 10 a.m. Pacific, to host a webinar alongside AWS. My former colleague, Dakota Gates, and I will be presenting on some co-sell topics. So if you're a startup partner looking to grow from zero or grow from a very early stage, and you're not sure how exactly to think about co-sell, we'll talk about some of those topics there in that session. I'll drop a link in the comments below for how you can sign up for that. And that's what's coming down the pipe. If you have any questions or things you'd like to see covered in future sessions, please leave a comment, and I'd love to talk to any of you. You can always message me, DM me on LinkedIn. So thanks, everyone. Have a great start to your 2026, and we'll talk again soon.